O worm Jacob, O maggot Israel, what intense words coming from God toward his chosen people. And yet he says them not as a statement of judgment, but of a recognition of their helplessness. But he goes on to say, I will help you, says the Lord. I will make you a threshing sledge, sharp, new, and double-edged, to thresh the mountains and crush them, to make the hills like chaff. These very images hearken to Isaiah's proclamation of what the coming of God's kingdom looks like, where hills are made low and valleys are filled. He says he will transform these worms and maggots into the very instruments of the coming of salvation. It's a recognition that in our smallness, in our sense of profound dependency, oftentimes, as of late, helplessness, it's there that we actually find the presence of God moving through us. Because it's in those moments of true and profound humility where we recognize that there is nothing that we can do on our own. That we realize that waiting in which we sit for a longing for something that we can't realize isn't something from which we flee, but something through which God works. This last year has been one that has inspired profound levels of interdependency. In some ways, it's made us realize the weaknesses of our society, the places where it's so easy for people, sometimes even ourselves, to fall through the cracks. And yet, even in those moments of need, those moments of our hunger and thirst, be it literal, be it the times that some of us may have to spend in line for food, or be it more broad experiences, like longing for companionship, for our isolation to be lessened, for an embrace from one we love. Whatever it is that we see in ourselves that can't be fulfilled on our own, those are moments of grace, moments of invitation, moments in which the prophet is reminding us today that the transformation of the world can emerge because of those experiences. We're being challenged this Advent season and through this whole year to recognize that our sense of dependency on others, our sense of dependency on God, our recognition that we cannot do it alone, that in fact is gift. It invites us to set aside our traditional ideas of shame, our traditional ideas of success, our traditional notions of what it means to achieve, and realize there's a greater intimacy that God invites each one of us to, not just with Him, but with one another. And it's through those moments of connection that we come to share the truth of who He is in us. It's in those moments that we find peace, not because everything has been transformed today, but because we realize the burden of the world isn't, in fact, on our shoulders, but we are instruments that allow God to carry that burden. And then we can rejoice, because all the parts of ourselves that we think make us weak and insignificant and undesirable, those facets of our being become the very things that God uses to make this world new. And so, our waiting is not a passive waiting. It's not a waiting for something to happen beyond our control only. It's an abandoning of ourselves to one who is greater than us, so that through Him we know that all things may be made new.